All right, we're back on sports, and I want to say this now. This weekend has been an amazing weekend, a hilarious weekend in sports. It was very entertaining. The things that we see, lots of salt everywhere for football fans. And I'll put it like this, before we get started on talking about the playoffs, I need to talk to 49ers fans. I need to actually give them a shout out, okay? Because when someone asks 49ers fans about the Powerball, and you are this brutally honest, you know what? I got to give y'all your respect.
Your lucky numbers are?
I'm going to pick 14, 24, 2, 7, and 15.
Those are your lucky numbers. Can I tell you what? Do you know your chances of winning?
Slim to none.
Slim to none. You're right. Let me tell you, it's 1 out of 292 million. What do you think about that?
I knew it.
You knew it. Your numbers are lucky, though. Am I right?
I hope so.
Can I ask you, if you won all the money, what would you do with it?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
Oh, okay. That's not good. We were hoping for a different answer. That's probably not the answer that we're looking for.
Bro, you just gonna come out there, just hookers and cocaine? Hookers and cocaine? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Look, I'll put it like this. With the Powerball money, if he won, you technically could buy a small island and have hookers and cocaine on it. Nobody said anything to you at this point. Oh my God. Respect to that man. Salute that man. Seriously, oh my God. Let's just move on to KC and the Texans. How about that? Can we just start with that playoff game? First off, KC and the Texans, Andy Reid shows up with his team. And as we know, no Jamal Charles. And we don't know what's going to happen with this team. Because the Texans, you're coming into the Texans' house. And the fans are hyped. If anyone didn't see, fans are hyped. They want this so badly. You know what I mean? Brian Hoyer talks about how he's ready for this game. And then he throws 4 interceptions. That's right, 4 interceptions. Fumbles twice, actually, okay? He recovers one, but he doesn't recover the other one. So 4 turnovers in the first half alone for Brian Hoyer, okay? 4 turnovers. And you're thinking to yourself, the coach, Bill O'Brien, he's going to pull Brian Hoyer because as far as I'm concerned, if you go into the second half, you got to start weeding. Given what he's already know, he may be limited in what he can do, but it's still more effective than what Brian Hoyer is being right now, okay? And to be fair, okay, with Brian Hoyer, there's a lot of passes that he did throw that receivers dropped. All right, so that's to be fair. Texans defense was banged up. As we saw, A.J. Watt got hurt, tried to come back in, got hurt again, tried to come back in again. It was just one of those things. The Chiefs looked really good, but as we know, they also had some pieces hurt as well. As you know, Macklin got injured and things of that nature. Alex Smith used his legs most of the time instead of really throwing. I mean, the Chiefs didn't really excel till about second half of the game, all right? But it doesn't matter at that point. To leave Brian Hoyer in the entire time, all right, instead of getting Whedon ready. And here's the thing. You have, near the end of the game, the media is talking about how Brandon Whedon may be coming in soon. And we're like, are you serious? Now you want to bring him in? You could have brought him in. You should have brought him in the beginning of the second half when you still had a chance when the score was close. And the fact that the Chiefs were pretty much slowly but surely chipping away at you and then making this big lead, all right, it turned out to be a blowout and a shutout, all right, in your own home stadium, and Brian Hoyer is just sitting there. Like, he's not trying to get it together. And you think about it, if you look at his facial expressions when he's throwing these balls, because let's be honest here, he should have thrown 6 interceptions. He should have. But the Chiefs dropped 2 of them. They were wide open. Every interception that he threw were wide open. It's not like it was, there's a receiver right there. I just missed him. No. It was just, no. There's a defender. I'm going to throw it. It almost made it feel like Brian Hoyer was colorblind. He didn't know what jersey to throw to that day. That's what it felt like. All right? There's no reason you can go into a playoff game. And I understand you want to stick with your quarterback. I understand it. You stick with your starter, it's a playoff. But when he has 4 turnovers in the first half, it's time to pull him. It's not about confidence at that point. It's not about the future of how he's going to feel. Who cares how he feels, all right? You're trying to win a playoff game. You're trying to win a football game so you can move forward. And that's what bothered me. So as far as I'm concerned, the defense they can only do but so much, But the offense looked horrible. It did. You're leaning on one guy pretty much the entire time when you're throwing the ball. Come on, Texans, let's be honest here. That's what you're pretty much doing. And no one else is catching the ball. Your quarterback, as you know, you're so far behind now that you got to keep throwing and throwing and throwing. And here's the thing. He's not good at throwing. So pretty much, you're screwed. You're screwed. And like I said, his facial expressions, no matter if it was an incomplete pass, a low-thrown ball, an overthrown ball, interception, a drop pass, Brian Hoyer just didn't seem like he cared. It almost is like the ghost of Smoking Jay Cutler just inhabited Brian Hoyer and was just like, It's not that big of a deal, I guess. I guess we'll just move on to the next play. It goes to show you that it's almost like he became numb to when he was throwing the ball. There was no emotion. There was no nothing. It wasn't no, damn it, I got to get back into it. It almost felt like quicksand, where if you tried harder, it was going to be worse. And he knew that going in. So he was just like, whatever. The fact that the Texans, you should know by now, since this happened, and it was an ugly game. Really ugly game. I mean, those fans went from hype to deflated really quickly. And they were booing, and they booed off the team in the first half when they were leaving for halftime. And the commentators are like, well, they deserve to be booed off off the field and things of that nature. And we're all thinking to ourselves, remember when they said Eagles fans were the only time, were the only fans that did it? Now it goes to show you that every fan base, no matter, it depends, no matter the fan base, if it's a poor performance, they're going to boo them off the field. So can we put that to rest now? Can we please put that to rest? All right? But, like I said, with this happening, the Texans now are going to have to find a quarterback. You can't lean on Brandon Weeden. Don't get me wrong, Texans fans. We've seen your quarterback in carousel, okay? You've had, 3-4 quarterbacks hurt all year, and you keep rotating and rotating, and you get hurt again, and then you get hurt again, and you got to bring another one, and they get hurt again. It's over and over, so I understand, all right? So, pretty much, you're going to have to find a quarterback that will work for you. And on top of this, you're going to have to really refine your offensive line so that the quarterback can stay healthy. All right? So you know what you got to do next year. You know what I mean? But within all this doom and gloom, with the Texans, I will say this right now. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's right, came out and said a message to J.J. Watt and how he's still a winner because he didn't give up, because the Texans, the team itself, won't lay down.
Hey, J.J., you and the Texans are fantastic. Just remember one thing. You didn't lose today. I'll tell you why. Because losers stay down. And I know you and the Texans, you always get up. That's why you're winners, and you always will be winners. So get going again, get up, put some fire into this team, and march forward. Hasta la vista, baby.
It was nice of Arnold to do that. Don't get me wrong, Texas fans. But as we saw over the weekend, I'm thinking to myself, maybe Arnold should have sent out a couple more messages to other teams as well, for what we've seen. And also put it like this. After what we saw with Brian Hoyer and pathetic performance of his play, you would have thought that it couldn't be overshadowed. And then the Steelers versus Bengals game came along. That's right. So, let's get into this right now. Let's talk about this. All right, first off, the game was absolutely horrible, okay? It was more fighting going on the field than it was actual play at one point. And for me, that's not football, okay? You can understand rivalry and guys getting chippy with each other, but it just got to the point where you're like, you've got to be kidding me, all right? But that's not all. Let's start with the fans, okay? Multiple fans are arrested at the Bengals versus Steelers game. Women are being punched, and there's a lot of reports of women being punched in the stands. Don't get me, I don't understand what's going on here. People are being headbutted. Another person urinated on another person. I don't understand what's going on here. This is a sport. This is football. You're supposed to be adults. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're literally punching women in the face. One of you guys said your friend worked security at the stadium, and another guy had Sparta kicked a lady down the steps. Like, what the fuck is going on? Seriously, I don't understand. Look, this game was so disgusting. It was so undisciplined from both sides. I saw so many things that were horrible. The Steelers, when a player is injured, and you see the Steelers, they're on the Bengals logo, and they're actually they're defecating on the logo while a Bengals player is injured. Mind you, all players are supposed to take a knee at that point, and it's not happening. This is just way too much going on. We saw, was it the offensive line coach, from the Steelers, grab a Bengals player after the play was over and sling him around, and he was getting ready to start fighting? I've seen too many things of what has happened as of late, all right, with this team. And it was disgusting for both teams. It wasn't just the Steelers, all right? Because we saw a lot of disrespectful things from the Steelers, but we also saw a lot of disrespectful things from the Bengals as well, all right? As we know, the hit that happened with Perfect, he got his penalty. And here's the thing I really hate about this situation. Because after the game, as we know, the Bengals had a chance to win this game, and then those penalties added up. We will talk about that in a minute, all right? But when Perfect goes to the locker room and the media is asking you questions, and seriously, this is how you answer the questions?
To lose it this way voluntarily?
I don't know. What words of
encouragement, or what have you said to your teammates after this loss?
I don't know.
Have they said anything to you, or?
I don't know.
How do you summarize the season?
I don't know.
That's not even being professional. Oh no, oh no. You should have just said no comment. But since you want to play this oh no game, you know what? If the reporter was smart, he should have said, hey, what are you still doing in the league? Oh no. Matter of fact, what were you doing knee and Ben Roethlisberger when he was down? Oh no. You want to talk about that? Let's look at that real quick. What a fucking idiot as far as I'm concerned. It's one thing, like, we know that when skirmishes happen, alright, there's guys who throw punches in crowds and you know, in groups. But you're going after a franchise quarterback, alright, by yourself trying to pull the ball when you've already tackled him, and you kneel him? Are you serious? So we're talking about a Super Bowl winning quarterback. This is what you want to do. You're a fucking idiot. You are. You have no control over yourself, do you, whatsoever? I don't know. But you know what? I want to keep going, all right? And I want to talk about, you know, Pac-Man Jones, all right? Because what he said about the Steelers after the game, because as you know, he got into it with Joey Porter, not Jerry Porter, Pac-Man Jones. Joey Porter actually hurt the Bengals near the stretch at the end of the game. So let's hear what he has to say.
Fucking refs did a horrible fucking job. You got fucking Jerry Porter in the middle of the fucking field talking shit to everybody, and then when somebody say something to him, he don't even supposed to be on the fucking field.
I absolutely agree with Pac-Man Jones on this. Why? Because Joey Porter isn't part of medical staff. Mind you, this is when the player got hurt, okay? When Burfict hit the guy. He's not part of medical staff, okay? He's not part of receivers, coaches, anything. You're on the field talking shit to active players. That is a problem. So as far as I'm concerned, he had no right being on the field, and the refs, I felt they did get it wrong. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, Pac-Man Jones shouldn't have fell for the bait. And there shouldn't have been bait to begin with, because he shouldn't have been on the fucking field. It's that simple, all right? It's really as simple. You have to eliminate for what it is. Pac-Man Jones is absolutely correct on this one. However, if you look at it, because, as you know, the yardage added up between the hit from Burfict and then that argument with Pac-Man and Joey Porter, what happened? The yardage adds up, the Steelers get down the field, and we know the rest is history. All right? Now, for those who don't know, Joey Porter may be, more than likely, he will be fined. Okay? He'll be fined for being on the field. But that fine is nothing compared to what just happened to the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay? Now, granted, the Cincinnati Bengals had a number of problems as well, okay? They didn't have their starting quarterback. You know, they made a lot of, bad mistakes. The Steelers made a lot of bad mistakes. Should we talk about that so-called fumble where Gabe picked it up, ran the end zone, and then he starts dancing, and they get the unsportsmanlike conduct call? But then when they review the play, the guy was actually down before the fumble, so you don't get the touchdown, but you keep the unsportsmanlike conduct call, so they go back 30 yards? Like, it's undisciplined football. It just is. Undisciplined football, and it's just, and like I said, this was more of a dramatic game as opposed to worrying about football. It was more about attitudes, and it had nothing to do with football, felt like, this game. I feel bad for Cincinnati Bengals fans because in the end, seeing that, it's like, wow, that's a bad move by the ref. It really is. Maybe, once again, Arnold Schwarzenegger should come out and say something to the Bengals fans, but he didn't, did he? Let's move on. Let's talk about the next game. That's right. Minnesota Vikings. That's right. And we all know what happened. It was just absolutely... I mean, do we really need to talk about this game? I mean, Bridgewater played, somewhat okay. As we know, Peterson, he fumbled once, but as you know, the Seattle Seahawks, when Cam Chancellor loves to strip the ball. He loves to do it all the time. If you haven't been watching the Seahawks this year, Cam Chancellor, every time he gets into some type of collision or some type of contact, he goes right for the ball. You would have thought, being a running back like Adrian Peterson, he would know this, reviewing the tape before playing in the game. But whatever, it happens, The Seattle Seahawks were really behind the gun here. I want to say right now that the Minnesota Vikings defense is legit. They're absolutely legit. They are a terror to mess. I'm telling you, they're going to be, if they can keep this squad and they can keep that type of confidence up, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to defense. Their offense still has a little bit to work on, but still, they can still do that. You know what I mean? That's still something you can work on. Bridgewater can still get the job done. I just don't think that, he was going downfield enough, if you ask me. You know what I mean? And a lot of it was using his legs. Thrown to the side, 5-yard pass. I would like to see more long balls. And I understand it was cold out there, so the wind could take it. And as you know, the Seattle Seahawks were not used to that type of weather. You saw the way they were reacting at first. You got the punter. Don't get me wrong here, all right? We saw what the punter happened with the Seattle Seahawks. The snap was low, right? He moves to the left. Mind you, he can still punt the ball. But what does he do? He's like, no, this is my time. I got this. So he runs, and he tries to jump over the line, and jump over lineman, which he can't jump, face plants on the ground, busts his nose up. Like, are you serious? Like, this is the type of game it is joke after joke after joke. It really is. Russell Wilson didn't have that great of a game. He played better in the second half, though, because, look, they were running the gun. They had no choice. You know what I mean? If the Seattle Seahawks were going to win this game, they had to, especially late in the stretch, they had to play really good football. Or actually, I'll put it like this, not even really good football. They had to play, pretty much touch football. Go out there, scramble a little bit. Oh, there's a man open. Let me dunk it to him. That's pretty much all you could do. You know what I mean? It was broken play football almost. And like I said, it's almost like two-hand touch football when you're in the schoolyard playing. That's what it felt like, when I was watching it. However, the Vikings, and we had to talk about this, because I don't understand how Vikings fans, I feel so bad for Vikings fans. I really do. There is no way you can get to a 26-yard field goal at the end of this game, all right? Laces in, because we've been making fun of it all on Twitter. Ace Ventura laces in Ray Finkel. And your kicker, not only does he miss the field goal, he shanks it wide left. You've got to be at 26 yards. You've got to be kidding me. You know what? I feel so bad for Vikings fans, but I have to show this. Let's look at Vikings fans' reactions during this kick.
You fucking piece of shit!
Ow! Shit! You go! Missed it!
Oh my God!
He fucking missed it! You gotta be fucking kidding me! He fucking missed it! You gotta be fucking kidding me! Oh my God!
Oh, Troy. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God!
Snap me,
He lost the game.
Oh my God.
He missed it.
Oh my God!
He missed! Oh my!
Oh my God!
Arnold, seriously, you should send some love to Vikings fans. You should have been on call all weekend. You should have, because this is the salt. That is just, that's a damn shame. I feel really bad for Vikings fans seeing that, and I put it like this as well. All right, as an Eagles fan, I will say this. I would rather not make the playoffs than to have to deal with something like that. Can you imagine those people out there in those stands, as cold as it was up there for 5-6 hours, and have to witness that? Can you imagine that? There's no coming back. There's no coming back from that one. I feel really bad for Vikings fans, but I want to give Vikings fans credit. And I want to say, regardless of what happened, you're still Vikings fans. Because for those who don't know what happened, all right, during this game, a bandwagoner was caught. That's right. Apparently, a Vikings fan had a jersey on, and as the Seahawks were winning, when that happened, takes off, all right, the Vikings jersey and shows that he has a Seahawks jersey on under it. See, fans like that, if you ask me, when something like that happens, security should come out and escort them out the game. They should. Because you never know who it's going to piss off when you pull a stunt like that. And look, we just saw what happened at the Steelers-Bengals game. Could you imagine if that happened at the Steelers-Bengals game? Man, no. Like I said, it's you have to look at it for really what it is. And it's disgusting to see. It really is. You're not a fan, but it goes to show you that every team, when it comes to something like this, they have their bandwagoners. They do. So, like I said, I want to give credit to Vikings fans for having to take that gut-wrenching loss and still be fans. You know what I mean? Unlike that person. That's a joke, as far as I'm concerned. I want to move on. Redskins, Green Bay. Now, I kind of figured that Green Bay was going to win this game, all right? Because we've been saying, Redskins, you're one and done. The biggest mouth on the team, Deshaun Jackson, who said, we the team to beat, we the team to beat. Where was he at in this game? History has shown, and I hope that Redskins fans are seeing it now, that every time it's a big game, when it comes to big games, he doesn't show up. Not at all. Once again, as we saw, he almost scored a touchdown, and as we know, he didn't get it, and the media is eating him alive today for everything that happened. He even went on the sidelines and was like, my bad. I'll put the link in the info bar, because they are eating him alive because of the fact that he did not score that touchdown. Apparently, one guy even went as far as to say that he purposely didn't score the touchdown because he was worried about his fantasy stats. I'm just saying, that's what it looked like. But we've seen this before as Eagles fans as well, have we not? Him get right there at the end zone and then get a little afraid to go into the end zone. We've seen it way too many times. So the biggest mouth on the team isn't a factor in this game. Again, Redskins, you actually played really well in the first half. You did. And then, after that touchdown, after it was negated, what happened? The Packers just went on a roll. That was it. I kind of figured that the Packers would win, but the Redskins did have a fighting chance in this game. And you have to give them at least that credit. You know what I mean? Kirk Cousins can only do but so much. I was waiting for him to throw a number of interceptions, and you know what? He didn't. All right? I really thought he was going to fold under this pressure. But he didn't. I mean, you can only do but so much. The running game played so much. If you haven't noticed, the Packers actually played really well against the run. When I'm watching this, I'm like, so Chip Kelly, still want to run against the Redskins now? No? I hate you. I hate you, Chip Kelly. That's how I felt, watching this game. But the Redskins lost, and one and done, and kind of figured they were going to be one and done. So the entire NFC East, as we know, is done because, let's be honest here, like I said, I've said it in previous videos, nobody in that division was going to make any noise in the playoffs. None. And he didn't. Redskins came out a little hot. They were hyped, you know what I mean? They're in their home, they're hyped. And then, second half, it kind of deflated a bit. I mean, fans still stayed. They didn't change on them like, we just saw a man ago. They didn't change on the team. But it's just really sad to see. You know what I mean? I just keep going back to that and seeing that image of that guy doing, they're losing, take it off. That's not a football fan. That's not. It's just not. But like I said, Redskins, one and done. A lot of people, I went on RG3's Twitter account to see what people were saying in mentions, and Redskins fans are saying, look, it's time for you to go. There's no point. They're holding you back. You know what I mean? Obviously, Kirk Cousins is the guy. He's the guy. Let's be honest. In the late stretch of this season, he's played really well. And you have to give him, I shouldn't say give him his credit. You have to reward him for playing that well. So what do you do with RG3? Do you keep him on the bench? Do you keep, Colt McCoy as the backup and let RG3 go wherever he needs to go? Because people are already saying, come to Texas. We come to the Texans. We need a quarterback. The Eagles, fans have said, come to the Eagles. We need a quarterback. At this point, it doesn't matter. People who need quarterbacks are just going to reach out to anyone, that seems they're just somewhat viable. And I feel like this. If RG3 goes to another team, he probably will play well for at least the first half of the season. I would think he's well rested at this point. I would think that. He's not doing anything. He wasn't even suited up. He was just walking around, shaking security's hand and things of that nature. What else can you do? You know what I mean? This is what the organization has decided to go with. Kirk Cousins, he had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown, which hasn't been done, I believe, in the playoffs by a Redskins quarterback, right? In the playoffs? So, like I said, you have to give Kirk Cousins his due. You have to. You have to reward him for trying hard. You know what I mean? So, defense I'm still not a fan of the Redskins defense, but your tight end is a killer. Your tight end is killer. Reed is a killer. And I put it like this. You would think after watching him in the late stretch that these teams would plan more for him. They don't. All right? Garcon really didn't do much. It's almost like they're decoys. Jackson, Garcon, all these guys are stretching the field, but they're not doing anything. And you're giving it to Reed, and he's just killing up the middle every time. Seriously. At this point, you have to give Reed also his credit by putting him up there with top-tier tight ends. You have to. I mean, this guy was burning cornerbacks. That's right, cornerbacks. He's killing DBs. Wow, really? Yeah, so you got to give him his credit. However, the Redskins, they lost. Figured they was going to lose. Like I said, this weekend, it was just, it really felt like, okay, one game's over, that can't possibly be topped, and then the other game comes on and tops it for some reason, and then some bizarre reason, and then another game tops that for some bizarre reason, and it was like, every time a player did bad or got into a hole like a Brian Hoyer, like I said, it just became overshadowed by, other current events that was going on in football. So, really interesting to see. I really had fun watching these games. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't ask for anything more. Like I said, I had a fun time. We had a fun time also talking about it on Twitter. A lot of jokes. I'll be interested to see what happens next week. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. I want to move on to football overseas. I want to talk about Chelsea. They had their game on Sunday. Looked really good. Looked really good. I can't say anything wrong at this point. You got to give them their credit. Once again, got to give them their credit on how they're playing. They are playing hard at this point. Costa scores again. I got to bring this up right now. I have to, all right? Remember just a couple weeks ago when Moreno was fired, this was said about Diego Costa? And then this week, this was paraded in the stands for Diego Costa. So where's that lady at now? I'm just saying, it's amazing what a difference a couple weeks makes when people start scoring. That's what it is. I told you, when the team starts playing better, you got to give them their credit. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. They're showing effort, as opposed to what you saw earlier this season. That's what it comes down to. Constantly beaten down and berated afterwards by their own manager. Look what's going on now. Gone, winning games, tying games, whatever the case may be. They are playing better, and that's all that matters. They're playing better. Once again, you sit and you support the franchise. It's not about one person. It's not. And it seems like those fans still have a lot to learn about that. But, as you know, that's how it's played right now. You know what I mean? It almost makes me feel as though they don't know what the hell they want at this point. But it doesn't matter. Anyways, I want to move on since we've been talking about a lot of football. And you know what? We didn't do any flops just yet. So let's get to the Griffin Force flop of the week. That goes to Iman Shumpert. That's right. From the Cleveland Cavaliers. You cannot tell me that you're going to get a defensive foul. They call it a defensive foul. It should have been an offensive foul. But they call a defensive foul in his case for this absolute flop.
Looks to be okay, though. Shumpert with the spin. They're going to call a foul on Kevin Martin, grabbing Shumpert. 2 on the Wolves here in the quarter.
I think that's a missed call right there. Give Kevin Martin credit.
So as you can see in the video, Iman Shumpert pushes off, extends the arm and pushes off on Kevin Martin. You want to know what that is? That is already an offensive foul. But the fact that Iman Shumpert does this horrible spin and then throws himself on the ground, and you're going to tell me you're going to give the foul to Kevin Martin? Really? It's a defensive foul? Like the lady said in the video, if you heard, come on. You come on, refs, you got to be kidding me at this point. It is an absolute joke that you got this wrong. And it's blatant. You can see it. I don't know how you get this wrong. Adam Silver, this is exactly why people don't respect the fucking NBA during the regular season. In the playoffs, people just write it off as drama. That's what they do, all right? But during the regular season, we hear a number of people say, I don't watch the NBA until the playoffs because of high drama, because of these calls. And you have this going on in the regular season, nobody respects it. When are you going to clean this up? That's what I'm wondering. Seriously, at this point, I am just, like I said, I'll watch the Sixers, but it doesn't matter what high-profile matchup you put on TV. It doesn't matter what station it's on. When you have fans, and yes, you call them fans, who have been saying this for years, not just about the flopping, but about how they don't watch NBA basketball in the regular season. For years they've been saying it. There is a problem with your product that needs to be improved. I don't understand how you can sit here and just be like, that's fine. That's fine. It's just one call. If you watch, I'm telling you, if you watch an NBA game, all right, and you just watch the refs, and you just see the way they do things, you would say to yourself, what the hell's going on here? Where did they get these refs? It's every game this happens. You blow so many calls, and I understand you can't catch every call. I understand that. But you have so many refs on the sidelines at every part of the court that you're going to tell me you can't catch this? And you're going to sit here and say that's okay? You're going to tell me you couldn't even stop and say, wait, that's a defensive foul. Wait a minute. Something's not right here. They're showing it on the big screen. Let's review it. And I understand that sometimes you can't do it for every call. I understand that. But when it's something that's so blatant, come on. Let's move on. Let's move on. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I want to talk about the UFC. I do want to talk about this. UFC. Yeah. For those who don't know, we talked about this last week before. We talked about Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm, who she should fight. And we talked about Conor McGregor moving up to 155s. For those who don't know, the news has now been put out that Conor McGregor will be fighting Rafael dos Anjos. That's right. It's now official. And in the card as well, Holly Holm will be fighting Miesha Tate, which we kind of figured was going to happen since she was next in line. So, with that being said, I think so far this is going to be a somewhat good pay-per-view. Now, I'll say this. When you have Conor McGregor going up against Rafael dos Anjos, I'm going to sit here and say now that I'm going to pick dos Anjos. Now, before anyone gets a little crazy, I want to say that I understand in the past I've picked against McGregor, and not because I hate McGregor, because I think McGregor is an excellent fighter. I think he's an amazing fighter. I just think he's going to have a really tough time adjusting to the 155 division. You know what I mean? I really feel he's going to, which is why I felt as though they were going to give him a tune-up fight first with Diaz, and then possibly go there if he wins that, you know what I mean? But no, he's going right for it. I understand why McGregor is going for this, because for those who don't know, McGregor has said that, his dream is to be, a champion in UFC in 2 different weight divisions. So he's getting his opportunity to fulfill that dream. I understand why he wants to do it. You know what I mean? So you can't take that away from him. If the opportunity is there, you take it. You know what I mean? I really feel with the Vegas odds, they're already saying that dos Anjos is a heavy. He's the guy who's going to stop McGregor. I really feel as though after what we saw with Cerrone and how dos Anjos has handled himself in previous fights, I think he can stop McGregor. I really think he can. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? McGregor has that long, awkward style. I would also be a little concerned how McGregor feels at a higher weight class, with that extra weight on. So there's a number of factors that play here. And when you have a guy who's already established and a champion at 155 as opposed to a guy who's actually moving up, we don't know if he's going to move up to that said weight. We don't know if he can make that said weight. You know what I mean? He may be lower than 155 when he fights him. We don't know yet. You know what I mean? There's just too many factors and question marks that come in that say McGregor will still have a chance. You know what I mean? He's always going to have a fight. He's always going to have a puncher's chance, but we don't know just yet. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to take dos Anjos on this one. And there's no disrespect to Conor McGregor. I think he's a great fighter. But it's hard for me to go against that. You know what I mean? That's just another mountain, you know what I mean, to climb. So, also, Holm versus Tate. I see Holly Holm winning this. I see her winning this fight. Miesha Tate can strike. As we know, she tried to sit and strike with Ronda Rousey, but she doesn't have the striking prowess as a Holly Holm does. You know what I mean? And she's also very versed, Holly Holm, when it comes to submissions. I don't know what Miesha Tate is planning on doing. I would think that she would plan on wrestling her, take her down and see what happens, because that's where her strength is. I mean, we've seen in Miesha Tate's previous couple of fights not too long ago, even not against Ronda Rousey, how the striking game really got to her. You know what I mean? And she had to take it to the ground. So, we're going to see what happens here. I wish them both the best of luck. I think that Holly Holm will win this. And there's nothing against Miesha Tate, because I think Miesha Tate's a great fighter. We will see what happens. With that said, I think Ronda Rousey really needs to pay attention to this fight. I think in the offset somewhere, in the distance, pay attention to this fight extremely. You know what I mean? Do not think, just be, no matter who wins. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear Rousey say, well, Miesha Tate won, and now I'm coming after Miesha Tate because I want my rematch now, because she's beaten Miesha Tate. I don't want to hear Holly Holm won, because, and now I'm going to get my rematch. I really feel as though it should come down to have that tune-up match first. I really feel when something like that happens, have that warm-up match, get that confidence back, and then go after that rematch or whatever. Don't go for it right away. You know what I mean? I don't know. We will see what happens. Still more in UFC. I will say this. I'm not going to name names, but last week, after I did the gaming video, a special guest came into my gym, UFC Elite of the Elite, the top 1% of the 1%. And I had a chance to learn from this person. You know what I mean? I spent 40 minutes in the ring with him, just striking. You know what I mean? Seeing holes, things of that nature. I learned a lot. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it was more about footwork, inside fighting, things of that nature, feints, you know what I mean? Just up close. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. Like I said, I don't want to say the person's name. Person bills in at 205, but they were a bit heavier at the time when I was striking with them not too long ago. I will say this, that it was quite a learning process. I will say that it was one of the greatest experiences I've had, the greatest, I'll say, experience I have had being in the ring with someone and learning. When you think, and he had said to me, because I didn't know that he knew who I was, and he said, you're a big fish in a small pond. And then he said that my footwork was kind of predictable. And then he proceeded to show me where it was predictable. And it's such a learning experience. So to go up against a guy who's not only bigger than you and stronger than you, faster than you, but knowing the elite type striking that they have, and it's like, okay, I'm here, and this person is all the way up here. This is what it takes to be an elite, top 1% of the world, and it's amazing. And I put it like this: a lot of people, when I was there and they were watching, they were saying, I couldn't record it. That was the sad part. I couldn't fucking record it. I couldn't because they kindly asked not to due to the fact that they're in training as well. And to see the difference in striking, and people were like, well, you held your own. You were hitting him off the exchange and things of that nature. And as far as I'm concerned, it was a 50-50. Because there was times where I could feel I was hitting him off the, off the exchange by myself. I was opposing Will. And then there was times where I saw that he was letting me hit him so that he can set up for something bigger. You know what I mean? And hit me with a bomb. You know what I mean? So it was an amazing experience. That's the measuring stick now. And ever since I've had that experience on Wednesday night, I haven't, that's all it's been now. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to getting in the ring, that's all I can think about, because to see the angles that were being taken. And the thing is, not all UFC fighters fight that, have that great striking game when it comes to just their hands. This person could easily, and talking to the trainers and things of that nature, could easily walk into boxing right now and hold the world title. You know what I mean? So that's what it felt like. It was like, wow, I'm learning so much so fast. And it came at you like, I'll put it like this. What bothered me is, and I wasn't mad at him. I was upset with myself. You know what I mean? It's not an excuse. I did 10 rounds of boxing before that. But when a person comes in like that and says, hey, get in the ring with me, you think I'm going to say no? Once again, you take every opportunity you can. But when you get in there and you see how this person moved, and here's the thing. When it comes to footwork, it's not that the footwork was bad. He said, my footwork is very good. It's really good. He was like, but you have to understand that the game plan going in. So if I go, I pride myself on going in plans A through Z. You know what I mean? If something doesn't work, go to plan B. If something doesn't work, go to plan C. Feel a person out, parry. See, I didn't have that chance. You know what I mean? With an elite striker, you don't have that chance to say, okay, plan A is not working, let's go to plan B. Because by the time I go to plan B, he's 10 steps ahead of me already. So plan B doesn't work, plan C is not working, plan D is not working, I got to throw all this shit out. You know what I mean? It's not working, and it's coming at you at such an alarming rate so fast, you really don't know what to do. So it was really interesting to learn from one of the best in the world at striking. And it's like, to me, it tells me where I'm at and what I strive to be. And it is, like I said, it was an amazing thing. It wasn't even like an official sparring. It wasn't. It was more of, I'm going to do stuff, we're going to move around, I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong, and I'm going to show you how you can get out of that. You know what I mean? So it was a teaching, a teaching time. But for 40 minutes, I felt like a little kid sitting there and just listening. It was like, oh, senpai's here, I'm listening. And there's times where he didn't feel as though I was understanding what he was saying. I'm like, no, I fully understand what you're saying. And then the next day, it was like, all right, sparring, training starts at 5. The next day, I was there at 1. You know what I mean? Because I was so motivated to get back in there and see what was going on and see what I can work on. And to learn from such a high-level striker. And I'm telling you now, to look into a person's eyes like that, and it'll put like this, I haven't seen that look in years from a person who gets in the ring and says, I'm doing, it's not, I'm doing this for fun, I'm doing this for competition. It's, I'm doing this because I want to eat you alive. It's one of those types, and just doesn't care. That mindset. It was like, you don't even have to you don't have to put your hands up first. You can see it from across the ring, like, this guy is serious business. And you need to take caution. And because you're taking caution, that makes him more loose. You know what I mean? He can do what he wants. He can play around because he has that now. And even though you need to be loose yourself, you still have to be cautious because that's a dangerous man across the ring. That is the elite of the elite. He is known for being, for being a savage. You know what I mean? So you have to take that seriously. And like I say, it was an amazing experience. It was priceless. I'll say that. It was priceless. And the fact that this man said he may come back, and just to see how I'm doing, it, like I said, initially when you're getting hit like that, and you're still throwing punches, you're still hitting them, but to get hit like that, to think that you couldn't. Like this is the first person who has ever, and I will say this right now, an elite of the elite has ever broken my guard when it comes to throwing a punch. Both times, you know what I mean? Breaking guard this way when it comes to an uppercut. Learning, how they're stepping. Every step, he was showing me, this step I'm taking right now has a purpose. This step I'm taking has a purpose. This step, every step that he took had meaning, as opposed to moving around and trying to figure it out. I fight off rhythm. He's fighting. He already knows what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Because he's done it for so long and so many years, and it's ingrained in him. And fighting at such a high level, it was just an amazing experience. It was. You know what I mean? And I can't thank that guy, that person enough. Like I said, I don't want to name names because I don't want to give out any names. You know what I mean? Until I'm allowed to. But amazing, absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? I just never thought. You know what I mean? That's the first time. I've been beaten around like that. Like I said, it was a heavyweight, but it was light. Billed as a light heavyweight, but at the time, because they're in training, they're a heavyweight. They've gained weight. You know what I mean? They're a heavyweight. So to get pounded like that by a heavyweight is just, like I said, those punches. And the thing is, he wasn't even throwing really heavy punches, but every punch he threw had fire on it. It felt like getting hit by a bunch of bricks. It did. You know what I mean? And it almost made me feel as though when this is happening, this man could knock me down, knock me out at any time he wanted to. That's what it felt like. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like. I have to take caution. That's what it felt like. It's not like, getting in the ring and boxing, like, okay, you got that shot, that's cool. I'm not, that doesn't faze me any. Okay, you hit me, that's nothing, you know what I mean? I don't feel that. Even his jab, it was like, whoa, like, didn't expect that, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty heavy, and he's hitting me light, so I can imagine if he was hitting me really hard, you know what I mean? Like, it's an amazing thing to experience, It's one thing to witness it on TV or to witness it, sitting ringside, but to actually be in there and see how this person moves. And I like I said, it did nothing but motivate me to be even better than what I am already. It got to that point where he was showing me what was wrong and how to fix things and where he was hitting me and how he would hit me, to give a punch, to take a punch, and where he would punch, the actual angle he was on and things of that nature. It almost made me feel that the 5 titles that I won over last year meant nothing. That's what it made me feel like. You know what I mean? And like my trainers and all, like, you shouldn't feel bad about yourself, and you did great, you handled yourself. And I'm thinking to myself that's not the point. That's, like I said, that's the measuring stick. That's what you want to be. You know what I mean? And it did nothing but motivate me. Like I said, I'm going to always be my biggest critic when it comes to doing things like that, regardless what is said online or whatever. And I understand that people like to sugarcoat things. Like I said, my trainers were just like, oh, you did great, you didn't do bad, you handled yourself. I'm thinking to myself, stop sugarcoating. Reality is, this guy could have did some serious damage if he wanted to, you know what I mean? But he is the top 1% of the 1% in the world, and I have to keep remembering that, you know what I mean? I have to, because if you get down on yourself over things like that, it's not going to work. This is why I keep saying, when Rousey got knocked out, got to get right back on the horse. The next day, right back on the horse. Earlier, actually, because I couldn't wait to get in there. You know what I mean? It's motivating. So, yeah. Anyways, amazing. Like I said, I'll see what happens today, because I have boxing today. Man, it's just an amazing experience. It's like I said, I've been like this since Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, I will never forget that. That is an amazing experience, I will never forget that. Anyways, I'm done for today. I will talk to y'all later. Hopefully I covered enough. I know people are still not going to be happy with the videos. For some reason, people aren't happy. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, like I said, they're videos. If people get that mad, oh well. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.